musician's life, right?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I need to put my jacket on. I thought it was too hot, but I'm too cold.
Take no cool. Facebook says it's connecting to the live video, but I don't see it popping up. Okay, we're here. One, one way or another, we're going to get this done, right, Karen?
Are we recording or not yet?
We're recording. We're on.
Oh, okay.
We're on.
Well, here we are back with Pirate Larry, who's been helping me through all my tech problems today. We go way back, like way back to like noon, I think.
Yeah, it's been quite an adventure.
I'm actually glad to spend this much time with you, Pirate. It's all good.
It's been a while, yeah.
Oh, it's all good. I blame a lot of it on my internet connection, and then I blame most of it on Facebook because why not? They get blamed for everything, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem that it's working great, you know.
No, it's not. I think when Skype is whipping the butt of Facebook, yeah, you know what that's saying about it. So I'm here on the playground with Pirate, Lawrence O'Donnell, and I'm excited to have you join us on the playground with us, my swarm. We are spreading wings and restoring minds. A swarm of butterflies in our stomach feels really good, but a swarm of moths doesn't. However, I believe that their warlike rampage can be a catalyst to a new life, and I hope that you find great inspiration in their intensity. We have all flown through hell. Some of us are still flying through it, and it's imperative that we reunite with our inner child and get back on the playground again. And I'm thrilled to be able to do this series that I started at the beginning of this month with some very inspirational people that I want to share with you. We had Heidi Sebastian did our first video with us, and we talked a lot about creativity, and she's amazing. Thank you so much, Heidi, for doing that with us. It was a great kickoff. And then we had Celia Tment. She's an author and life coach friend of mine. She's also a Canadian, by the way. I need to say that about all Canadians. Make sure that people know about them. We talked about pain. And then Anya Poole, one of my oldest buds on here and a good friend of yours as well, Pirate, did a super fun session about all things dogs. I'm going to book more sessions with Anya for sure because she's just amazing. But today, one of my very favorite human beings on the whole planet and who I've spent most of my day with today.
Quite a day.
Why not, right?
Why not?
Every time we speak, I feel like I'm talking to someone timeless. That is Pirate Larry, Lawrence O'Donnell. I called you Super Sage so many times this week, and sometimes today. I knew that that would make you roll your eyes at me, but I'm gonna do it
I
anyway.
gotta get the
I
T-shirt. Yeah.
Yes, there's a T-shirt that we were talking about earlier that he should have. It should say Super Sage, but then have Sage the spice on it, like the
The
plant.
plant. The plant.
The plant.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be fantastic. I want to start off with a quote. I like starting these sessions with a quote, but I'm going to make it a quote from Pirate Larry, where he says, "It takes time to become a form of knowledge. Not everyone becomes that. It takes experience. Many can become forms of information, but knowledge requires a heart." Can you take us through? You and I have talked about this at length, but take the people who are just joining in with us now to take them through the difference between intellect and knowledge and wisdom, because I think there's a big difference between those. We know about the street smart people, right? There's that kind of street smart intellect that happens, and then there's the kind of wisdom and knowledge that I think either happens through enlightenment or through our own journey.
Yeah, knowledge is power. Um, and how if your sink backs up and you need a plumber, the guy that knows how to fix your sink, has power, right? So
Yes.
knowledge is power. But knowledge with a heart is wisdom. If you attach your knowledge to your heart,
Right.
because the heart is um, the heart will always tell you the truth. It always beats the truth, and feels the truth, and um, you can't ever ignore or deny your feelings. Your feelings are
Right.
true. So what you do about your feelings, that's something else. You know, that's part of the transaction. But don't deny those feelings when they're coming in. When you feel them.
Right.
Yeah. Wisdom is, to me, it's always had a heart. You know, every time I've heard things that inspire me, they've always had compassion and caring and kindness.
Right. Everything that seems to be lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think some people are born with that and some people have to learn it along the way. My mother was a woman who I believe came out of the womb as a compassionate creature with a whole bunch of patience, and I didn't get any of that. I had to somehow learn that along my journey on the playground. Every time you and I speak, I I think about this Joan Baez quote: "Action is the antidote to despair." And you and I came together under the umbrella of compassion. We keep referring to it as the black dog. And I wrote down a quote that you said to me: "In a world swirling with madness, it's hard to find that idyllic oasis." Can you talk to us about depression? What causes it? And does it ever really go away? And it's not the same for everyone. But when that black dog creeps back up again, like, what is that?
Yeah, depression is a black dog follows you around everywhere.
Yeah. Is
um,
that like my dog Bat?
yeah,
That's my
follows you
dog.
around everywhere. You can't. But
In not a good way.
so if you feel depressed, it means you have a heart. If you don't feel depressed in this world right now, then you're a sociopath or a psychopath. But if you feel depressed, you know, congratulate yourself because you still have a heart. And then you have to find out, you know, ways to take care of your heart, you know, ways to be a caretaker of your own heart. Uh, it's depressing out there, and you can't deny the truth. If you want so-called enlightenment or whatever, how can you deny the truth?
Right.
It's depressing out there, and people, they're people seem to have no compassion. And it's not that people have no compassion. People have great compassion. Just watch when there's a flood or a fire or something. People have tremendous compassion. It's
Sure.
um, it's kind of this heartlessness where we feel that if you fail, it's your fault. And you know the system is set up to, you know, make everybody fail. So if you fail, you know they blame you. They say it's your fault, and I think that's wrong. Uh, the system has collapsed. You can see it's collapsed because the the social contract has been
Hmm.
voided, and the people at the bottom didn't void the social contract. It was all the pirates and thieves at the top, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of represent the orphans and the pirates, the ones who got
You do.
the ones
Do you
who
think it's
yeah.
do you think it's more that people have compassion, but right now they're just so tired or they're just so hurting? If you are currently suffering under this umbrella of depression or loneliness or sadness, please type the word hurting below this video. I want to know that. I just wonder if it's more that people just they don't have the capacity right now. Is it just that things are so overwhelming, like more than they've ever been? People are so poor and they're so broke and they're so hurting. It's I don't know if it's so much that it's not that they I think it's just they maybe just are really really tired.
Yeah, I think they're tired of playing a game where they're continuously going to lose, or they're going to
Right.
soul-killing jobs that
Yes.
that have no real future. Um,
Right.
and
E- Yeah, even pre-pandemic, right? Like people were not happy
no,
in their, yeah.
no. But the happiest people I've met have been poor. Really, the happiest people I've met, they've been
We're
really
in the
poor.
pockets, right?
Hmm. So I think, it's like if you think that success is having the car and the fancy house and the, I don't know, 2.5 kids and all that stuff, it's not.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know plenty of people that are there and they're not happy. So
Right.
that's not what's going to make you happy.
Right.
It's
There's
actually,
a quote. There's a quote from you where you said, "There are people vying for power, and they sound insane, and they have almost no compassion. Then there are those who want to support life, the compassionate ones. We may get drowned out by the noise, but we all know how to burn through the madness." I think yeah, it's like you said, it isn't about who's got the power or who doesn't have the power. It's it's whoever has that kind of compassionate heart. And I think these are topics and people who are vying for power, but also our attention. And it bothers me more than anything. And this is something that you and I've discussed before, but it really bothers me, Pirate, that it's stealing so much of our creative time. It's stealing our time with our family. It's stealing our time with our pets. How do we block out the noise and get back to the heart of what's really important?
well, part of it is like changing. It's just a shift in view of what's important. The money is not important. Your
Right.
time is important. Time is what you spend, and time
Right.
is love. So spend it wisely.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, yeah. Time is love. It's not. They say time is money, but that if you give up love, then yeah, you can go for money.
Right. You said it is a gift to shine a light in the darkness, and it perennially, I can never say that word. I said it wrong before.
Perennially, yeah,
I'll say
that's
it
right.
wrong again.
Perennially.
Perennially blossoms, providing much joy and relief. I think for me, and I think you're this type of person as well, when everything's so crazy and overwhelming around us, I find the only thing that really gets me through, it's not even like, I think we're constantly looking for big things, those big cars, the big success, the big win, the big job or whatever. But that's not the kind of things that get me through. It's the little stuff, it's the little inspiring things that seem to give me that joy and that relief. And they are like perennial blossoms that just pop up here and there. And they usually come from kind of the same consistent people that they always have, right? So you know that every spring you're going to see a tulip come up in your flower bed. Just like that, I know that I can always go to certain people for certain things to pop up and blossom at that time. And there's a consistency in that. And I'm always struggling to just say, well, how can I retain that consistency? And I think that's always been a real
It's a
struggle.
playground,
What
Karen, and you're.
part of
It's the playground. Those people, I call it a network. We we're the pyramid is collapsing. The people at the top have no idea what's going on at the bottom. So it's collapsing.
stronger at the bottom?
Hmm?
Isn't it stronger at the
It's
bottom?
stronger at the bottom. So, and we're not afraid of being broke because we're all broke. So
What are you going to take from me?
yeah. So you could make all my babies be born naked. I mean, what are you gonna do? So, um, where was I?
At the
Compassion,
bottom of the pyramid. Yeah.
compassion on the network. So the pyramid's collapsing. The network is evolving. We're seeing a network grow, and rather than being like the top man on the totem pole, we're a node on the network. And when we're needed, people come and hit that node and go, "Hey, I need you for something," and then, you know, then you shine. You go, oh, and that's when the blossoms happen and all those, beautiful things happen. Um,
Right.
yeah. So
I need more moments like that, like, and just with how quickly things are spinning out of control, I guess I have to remember that that's out there.
yeah,
That's not
that
that's not in me,
that's not you. It's not you.
right?
Yeah, you didn't do it.
There's what's out there, and then there's what's in me, and those are two totally different things that I'm constantly trying to make a division between. Because otherwise, if you don't make that pronounced division, you become what's out there.
Uh, yeah, you have to be very spiritually strong to become what's out there, and
Yeah,
and still, and still hold on. And there is a yoga where you become one with everything. And the way I explain it is, without you, I have no existence. I mean, without the you of 9 billion people on the planet,
right.
right? So you are my existence. Without you, I'm just like, in a sensory deprivation chamber, right?
You're a fine looking one.
Yeah. But, but there, it's like, so you can become one with everybody and everything. And you begin also to see the balance. And it's, there is, you know, vicious weapons at the top.
Mhm.
But there's also, it's that love that carries everybody through after the
Sure.
war, after the bombs go off. There are people that are taking care of each other, going, "How can I get you through this?" And that is more powerful than all their stupid weapons.
It's so powerful because how do you keep it from affecting your core when you're trying to do it all by yourself?
Right, right.
That makes like how do you keep that healthy distance? How do you separate yourself? How do you and that's that's a struggle. Um
You have a
I
birthright
want
for your
pardon
own.
me?
You have a birthright for your own peace, and so
That was the intention.
you just
Yeah.
demand respect for your birthright,
Which is peace.
which is peace.
Which is peace. I don't think the original intention was ever supposed to be this level of chaos. I think the original intention was supposed to be peace. I think we go through all these kind of ups and downs, and life can be wonderful and wacky and awful all at the same time. But I think at the core of it, you should be allowed to have that birthright of peace.
Yes,
I would agree.
and
You said the quote here, but that where you said, "Here I am, surrounded by people chasing every figment of a treasure, and they have no idea that unconditional love is what keeps everyone alive. The rest is a game for stupid dominance."
right.
And then at the beginning of your quote, you said, what had struck me about it is when you said, "Here I am surrounded by people." And that's something I hear from a lot of people where they'll say, "I feel like I'm surrounded by stupid people. I feel like I'm surrounded by cruelty. I feel like I'm always surrounded by nobody understands me," right? Like all those
Oh,
kinds of
that.
things that
Yeah,
happen. But then there's people that say, "I'm surrounded by love and kindness," and that's awesome too. Why do we feel so alone? Like, is something I talked to you about this earlier too, where I said, is it possible that there is something that is positively pulling us and calling us away from the madness, and therefore we feel alone?
yeah. I think that's true. I mean, I think that part of it is like a fallout shelter that people go to. You know,
Mm,
and I mean, there are times when I want to be alone, and I'm not lonely. I just want to be
big
alone.
difference.
You know.
I've heard me do a lot of videos on the difference between lonely versus alone. What's your definition of some feeling lonely versus alone?
Well,
Because you can feel lonely amongst a lot of people.
so being alone is kind of a fact, whereas being lonely is a feeling. It's like you can change a feeling. you know, you're not, you're hardly going to be able to change a fact. And so the fact
Hmm.
is, we're all kind of born alone, and we live alone and we die alone. That's one way to look at it.
Right.
But it was like, Jean-Paul Sartre was a philosopher who wrote, "Hell is other people," and that's true, isn't it? I mean, people put you through hell. But
Yeah, you think, oh, I'm doing fine.
so I figure if hell is other people, then the opposite is true. Heaven is other people,
Mm.
and
Hmm.
we can create heaven on earth just by recognizing the sacredness of each other.
Right.
And so that's,
Why do so many people feel alone or lonely? Lonely. Why do so many people feel lonely?
yeah, it's like 9 billion
Like,
people on the planet and we're all alone, right?
I would love to take one great big swing that would fix the whole thing. I think it's obviously more complex than that, but are we not are we not brave enough to call out some other like-minded spirits?
Yeah, I think, um, well, a lot of a lot of what people experience is, they've been suppressed. I mean, they've been suppressed. And then
Hmm.
there's phony spirituality out there, which makes people turn to you know hard dyed in the wool atheists. So
Hmm.
a guy like the Dalai Lama, he doesn't. I mean, unless it's in a setting where he's talking to you about Buddhism,
Hmm.
he'll talk to the world about things in general.
Yes.
I think that's what we need to do. Is like start talking to
Speak to you where you're at.
hmm
Hmm. Yeah.
we start out where we are, and instead of saying what's in it for me, you say how can I help you?
What can I do for you?
Because we
Yeah.
know everybody, has been smashed.
Is that hard though for people who are feeling like they have nothing, that they are nothing?
It's a lie, but I felt that way before.
Hmm.
It's a lie. Sometimes, there's an ego that you need to kill. It can be as simple as, you lost a job and your whole life was tied up in that job.
Right.
So you need to kill that so you can move on. Or a relationship or anything like that. It sounds cruel, but
Hmm.
you cut it off so that it doesn't hurt you anymore. And then once you can see it objectively, then
That's the hard part. Objectivity. Oof.
well, it's standing in somebody else's moccasins and seeing how they would see it. And that requires humility and compassion to be able to do that, but it's
Right.
very enlightening to see how other people, feel. How you can't know exactly, but you can know a lot.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about my favorite quote from you. I have to get this in here because I love it so much. It's a longer quote from you. I want to talk to you about three things: will, nature, and time. The will captures an idea and seeks to make it real, but it's nature that manifests that real. The will try to bend nature to its will, but nature has a will of her own. The will can focus on bending nature to its own desires, or the will can focus on the truth. And the truth is, both will and nature depend on time. It is time that began them both, and it is time that will always see them as they began, both divine. Therefore, life to me is a dance among will, nature, and time, and each must respect the other while dancing. I've asked you about this quote before. I wanted you to talk about Father Time
Father Time.
and why that's the most important thing ever. That seems like a lot of us are ignoring right now.
Well, people think that, oh, we created time and it's a clock and it's an hour and it's not really real. No, time created us, and the reason I say that is because um, you can't a wave can't exist without time. So time had to exist first before the wave, and then the observer turned the wave into a particle, and now we've got a lot of observers and a lot of particles.
Right.
But they're all dancing in that dance of time. And so you want to find a purpose? Serve the will of time. Rather than your own personal will, serve the will of time. And as long as you work for the benefit of humanity, you can never go astray.
Right. So from a practical standpoint, like are we wasting time by engaging in certain things? How are we disrespecting time?
Well, yeah, we're just sitting here killing time. Um,
What a terrible phrase, right?
well, time's
Think
killing
about
us too. So, uh, the I think where was I?
well, just with killing time, even that phrase that you just said, like it seems really disrespectful. If we're supposed to be mindful of the time that we're here on Earth, and we're supposed to be spending our time wisely,
Time, yeah, time is
right?
all we have. Time, the memories that we are the only thing that we can take with us, and we create those memories through time.
And so every moment is precious within that. And it is moments, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's moments even more so than it is minutes or seconds. It's the moments. I find for me, I'm looking more for moments than anything. I'm looking for the beautiful moments, like when you and I can have a wonderful chat and I can find those, pearls of wisdom and those just beautiful moments where we can connect. Those are the kinds of things I'm way more interested in
Yeah, me too.
than
Yeah.
than just how did I spend an hour on a Saturday night necessarily.
Or
Um,
or going shopping, or any of that stuff. It's like
yeah.
these are precious. These moments are precious.
And this is something I found. Okay, so when my mother passed away, and I would sit by her bed, and the last 10 days of cancer, as you know, can be just wicked.
Hmm.
And I would sit by her bed, and I was looking for moments. I was looking for moments, and I was trying not to concentrate so much on how much time did I have left with her, but could I find some beautiful moments in that? And I did. I found some amazing moments, and I would journal those moments, and they were really incredible, and I'll hold them with me forever. More so than saying, well, I had 5 years with a person, or you start tagging your
Right.
memories with
Right.
kind of time events that get attached to them. I'm more looking for those memories. So now when somebody says to me, my mother's dying, Karen, or my sister's dying, or something, my advice to them immediately is look for the moments, look for the beautiful moments,
Hmm.
like look for the keep your eyes open for them because they're going to be there and they're going to just be so wonderful and you're going to be able to package those in whatever way you need to package them after the fact.
Hmm.
And to me, that's kind of what time is. This whole quote from you, this long quote that I read, is really my favorite quote. I just love it, and I think it's a lot like that riding life's wave. Can you talk about why it's better to ride life's wave than it is to bully your way through it?
Well, every
I
action
call it bulldozing.
bulldozing. Yeah, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, so you're gonna get some pushback, and
Yeah.
it may take some time. Uh, I think the bullies on the playground um, usually have had, an abusive relationship at home, and they're taking it out to the schoolyard. Um, and as things go on, eventually, we'll stand up to the bully and we'll knock him down because we're all equal here.
Right.
Even the president,
Right.
is no greater than us. And
Right.
we all feel that way. We all feel like we're equal. and that's
Yes.
we've got to maintain that. That's very important.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What are we missing when we're not riding the wave?
Well, is you're trying to control what's impossible to control. It's like trying to control a 2-year-old. I mean, you got to give up. The 2-year-old is gonna win. Um, it's and you got to love them for it, but they'll drive you up the wall. Um,
Right.
Trying to control what's impossible to control is where you get burned. We get burned doing that, and rightly so,
Yeah.
because we we're trying to control some person that we shouldn't be trying to control, or something that we shouldn't be trying to control. So then
Right.
you let go. You just go, okay, hands up, and then you ride the wave. You go, okay,
Right.
time. What is time? The will of time. What does time want? I'm here in this
Right.
time. What is time telling me? And time may tell
I
you
love
clean your
I love
wings.
that you view it like this, where it's not so much about what can I do in the world that's good for me, but as a good steward of the planet, what am I doing that's, like you had said, I see this amazing consciousness arising in people that simply want to take care of nature.
Yeah.
I'm see this is kind of what I'm starting to feel too, where people are starting to shift, and it's albeit not as many as I'd like yet, but it's shifting, where people want to take care of nature more than they want to take care of themselves, or
Yeah.
they want to be more of a word, you know. Somebody brought you some food.
Yeah, my son, he loves me.
Oh,
One
your
of those
son's
people that
amazing.
he is. He's really amazing.
That's great. How does how does awakening work? I loved hearing you talk about this before, so I wanted to ask you about it again.
Yeah, it works like a blossoming. It's like it begins as a simple shift in view. You begin to think the things that I thought were important are not so important. Let me shift my
Right.
view to things that really are important.
Right.
Eh, a near-death experience, or whatever, can cause that shift pretty quick.
Yes.
So once you have that shift in view, then it's like this is the ancient knowledge. This is the knowledge that our ancestors knew, our great great
Mm-hmm.
great ancestors.
Right.
And that knowledge is that nature will tell you the truth without um, well, nature will tell you the truth. All you have to do is listen.
Right.
So,
Yeah, like will you if you sit long enough, will a falling star show up?
or from one seed, I create many, right? One seed, I create many seeds, plus the fruit. This is, you know, this is like the divine talking to us. From one seed of the divine, I create many, blossoms of the divine.
Right. Right.
This is our sickness. This is what we don't see. This is why we're all sad. We don't treat each other as divine, in my view. And that's a shift in view.
Mirror as the miracle that each and every one of us are, right?
Yeah, yeah. And somehow, because we've had soul killing jobs, and we've had competition in the schools, and people trying to put you down or whatever, uh, it got lost.
Yeah. I want to switch and talk about music for a second. You and I both share the fact that we just love music with our whole heart. Um, I think we go way back just to all the musical projects that have happened kind of along the way. It's been said that music is a language. What is music for you?
Music was my
Is
first girlfriend.
it I was going to say, is this its own spirit or is, and yeah, it sounds like it was a spirit for you.
It is. It's like these melodies are like they're in the air, and something divine enables me to like try to capture them. And so I'm just trying to be a good, um,
A vessel.
yeah, a good vessel, and trying to, you know.
You're saying everything to my mind at the exact same time. That's how it works for me, and I don't know how to articulate it. And that's why I'm asking you what you think music is because for me, it just comes, and I don't even totally understand where it's coming from, nor do I totally ever want to understand where it's coming from because I don't want to dissect it
No.
too much. Otherwise, it takes away the beauty and the discovery and the childlike discovery that goes with it. But it just seems like it's something that it's a language, it's a spirit, it's all those things on our planet that nobody seems to argue about. They can say whether they like this type of music or that type of music, but nobody says music is bad. Like it's just
Yeah, maybe
they
there's
can
a
say.
couple of Baptist preachers out there. Footloose and yeah.
But I think there's like and I don't even mean lyric. I mean music,
Music.
vibrations, and beats and sounds, and
Hmm.
it's interesting to get your take on that. I tease you, pirate, and call you a super sage, but it kind of came to me earlier today that you are the father of the vulnerable, and I've seen where you've taken care of kitties and you've taken care of people and you've brought people into your home and you provide that space for creative musicians to do this. And I asked you, and I want you to share with other people, why do you do this? Like, why don't you just keep all your resources to yourself? What do you get out of it?
Uh, well, I my mom used to say, look, there's two types of people in the world. There's those who say, what's in it for me? And there are those who say, how can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, me, I prefer to hang out with the people who say, how can I help you? So I felt the same way. My mom was a saint, and just like she was
Mine.
like your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And you met my mom, which was
I was really mother.
Mm-hmm.
I think where did we meet? Was there some cool place in California?
L.A.
What
We
was
were up
that?
in L.A. and we met God, in Hollywood. Frank was there. It was cool.
There was some kind of young corner bistro or
Yeah,
something. I want
yeah.
to say,
Corner Bistro.
right?
Yeah,
And you brought your guitar and you played.
I did. I did.
I thought that was pretty gutsy. He just pulls out his guitar in the middle of a strange place with weird people standing around, and he's just going to play.
Yep.
You weren't even busking or anything. You were just like, I'm just going to play my
Yeah, I
guitar.
wanted to show you this thing that I did. My latest tune.
It was beautiful.
Mm.
But your mother's wonderful. So she was saying to you, sorry, just to interrupt that, because I remember
Well,
that meeting her. But you were saying about that she said there's those two types of people, and you'd rather hang out with the people who give and the people who love and the people who
right,
can say, "What can I do for you?"
right. Those are like really good people, and the people that are what's in it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You may be able to, I mean, give them a job mowing your lawn or something. I don't know. But if you don't have a job ready for them, then there's
Yeah.
nothing I can do for you. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I love people. I do whatever I can.
You do more than you should.
I did wear myself out. That's right, Karen. I did. But God, I just love these folks.
What my mother called that. My mother used to take care of her mother-in-law for years, and they coined it as caregiver burnout.
Yeah.
I think you have to put on your own face mask in the airplane before you put one on the person next to you.
That's
And people like you and me aren't so good at
no,
that.
no. I wasn't real good at that, and it took a
let me
toll.
ask you. Let me ask you some questions.
Sure.
I'm just gonna fire off some, and I've asked you some of these before, but just for the people out there, do you prefer a sunrise or a sunset?
Sunset.
How come?
It's the end of the day. A new day is coming, and
It's beautiful, isn't it?
yeah, the twilight,
It's different time.
the night, the peace. It's like a very peaceful time in the sense of.
People aren't so wound up, I think, at that time of day. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful time of day. Um, I asked you this, but it's ridiculous. Saturday night dinner with friends or Saturday night jam session
Jam session.
with dinner.
With
Bring
carne
food.
asada and cervezas and yeah, the whole thing.
And I love how I can throw any object at you and you can tell me what you get from it or what you see in it. So tell me about a tree and then tell me about a flower.
Mm. So I told my kids, I said, if you really want to know what a tree is, don't call it a tree. Stop thinking of it as a tree and just look at it, and it'll tell you its whole life. You know, and trees are beautiful because they will tell you their whole life. They're strong. They stay there. They're watchers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they have blossoms and leaves and strong roots that are in the ground. The Hindus talk about the Ashoka tree, which is a tree that has its roots in the air and its branches and fruit on the ground. And to me, that's a symbol of people because our roots, our network is in the air. The trees have a network, they talk through the mycelia, so mycelium, which are mushrooms underneath the ground. And so they talk to each other. They talk to, all the plants talk to each other through this network of mycelium. So, yeah, to me, that's okay. So, blossom is like a consciousness, it's awakening, where it starts out as a tight bud, and then it begins to loosen up a little bit, and then boom, you got this beautiful flower, and it's just a beautiful thing to see.
I love that. What's your biggest life lesson?
Uh, do not try to control what is impossible to control. Leave that up to time. All I can do is control me, you know.
Yeah.
And the mistakes I've made in life and the pain that I've had in life has been from trying to control things that I shouldn't, have any control over. So I look at it, you get burned, I get burned if I try to do that. And rightly so.
Yeah.
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 Teaches me
Just
a lesson.
back to that riding life's wave a bit. And I think it's we view it as like it's a bad thing too, where it's like you start to give up some of the control that you're so hyper focused on and you got those horse blinders on, you're missing out on things that are outside of those blinders. So it's not even just like it's when we teach things to children, a lot of the times they kind of bark back and go, "Oh, you're squashing me or you're keeping me down." It's like, well, not necessarily, right? You might be missing out on something that's really good for you, that's really healthy for you. I think for me, my life lesson has been the difference between taking critique versus taking criticism and not quite caring what people think, right?
Right.
So for me, from a creative standpoint, my creativity was squashed for years because I cared too much what people thought of that end product. And once I kind of got rid of that, where I was like, you know what? I actually don't care what you think anymore. I'm going to create something and I'm going to share with you in the hopes of inspiring, but I'm done caring what you think.
Good.
That was that was a pretty big deal for me. It took a long time to get to. And then as a result, and some people thought it was kind of a snotty attitude, but as a result, I started falling in love with music again. I started falling in love with characters again. I started painting again. I hadn't painted for years. I've got paintings nobody's ever seen. They don't need to, right? Because there was just a joy.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of critique versus criticism thing, I don't mind taking somebody's critique, if it's asked for, but I'm done with criticism.
You don't need it.
No.
You're
Talk to us
you're at a different level.
just oh, get different.
No, 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 really. I mean, you're at a level
You're
where, it's like you've created this, and you've got the whole story and all of that, and the music, fits with the story, and it's amazing to watch. I mean, I'm just, stunned, and I think it's awesome.
I love you, Pirate. Can you talk to us at the end of this video about gratitude and what it means to you?
Mm. Well, I used to, be like, ew, gratitude. I don't want to feel grateful. Why do I have to feel grateful? But
Because it was too trendy, you said, right?
yeah, it was too trendy, Yeah, it's like I don't know, I'm gonna do that. But on the other hand, when I put gratitude into my life, and when I think, God, I'm really, grateful for where I am, and the people around me, and the people who love me, it's an amazing thing, and it is a miracle, and I'm just surrounded by miracle after miracle. So, and it wouldn't have happened without you people. Some of the best friends I had, I met here with you, on the playground, and people I talk to, a lot, and because they're good people, you know,
Yeah.
and you got to be grateful for good people. I mean, really.
Do you, don't you think that we're kind of time tested and true to our people too? Like when we look back at how far we go back as far as MySpace, which like somebody born 10 or 12 years ago wouldn't even know what we're talking about
Right,
anymore.
right.
Like we go back a long way, and I think I look at there's probably a half a dozen people who have stood the test of that time.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people who kind of, come and go. And that's cool too, because everybody's got their own journey. But I've made some very close friends, and you are certainly one of them, Pirate. I'm ever so grateful for your friendship and your wisdom and your love.
Thank you.
And I told you earlier, and I'll tell you again, and I'm telling everybody out there, I was really scared this past year when your family told me to make a video because you probably weren't going to make it through the night. That was really hard on me because of this, what I said. There's only a few people in my life who I think are time tested and true, and you were definitely at the top of that. It really hurt me and bothered me because and it's not to say I'm trying to control time or control, the time that you leave the earth or your journey or anything like that. But I think selfishly, I was just like, no, I'm not ready for that. So I'm so grateful you're still here with us and you're still able to, even if you're feeling low, I hope you will always know how grateful I am for our
I
friendship.
do.
And I love you so much.
I love you too. I adore you, and you know that it's a real love. It's a true love. It's not a boyfriend girlfriend confusion type of thing. It's like real love. There's real and respect and real caring there.
I also love that we can pick up where we left off.
Yeah,
Like there's no pressure on each other to be like, oh, you gotta call me this time of day and check in with this kind of crap that people put on each
it's
other.
controlling. It's controlling
Yeah.
mechanisms.
So back to your lesson of like give up the control, right?
Because she'll
There's
appreciate
no.
you more when you stop trying to control her. Believe me, boys.
I love you so much, Pirate.
Love you too.
Wave to everybody on the playground. Thank you ever so much, everybody. Love you tons. We'll talk to you soon,
All
okay?
right.
Bye.
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 Bye.